Good morning. It is Wednesday, June 26th. We're 90 days out from September 24th. The DTD2, as we wrap up the 13th week of the quarter, is your Ys and your Zs and your Xs. So you're calling your Ys and your Zs. You're texting your Xs, which for some of you might take a while because you are popular. People like you. So the DTD2, do the database 2, gets you through your entire phone, gets you through the entirety of your phone, and make sure that you stay out of call bias and talk to all the humans to make sure we're staying in touch. And that's the mindset behind why we have a CRM, a customer relationship management tool. It's not to manage our customers. It's to manage us in the relationship with our customers, the people that we know and love and trust. That's why we do it. So we're here. We are getting out of the morning quick start. And at 9 o'clock, you will be heading to contracts. We've got Vermont on Keller TV, Maine on Keller TV, and New Hampshire is going to be Keller TV and live in Portsmouth. So if you're in Portsmouth, the Dr. Jason Westcott will be in the building. He is in the building. He was just in here doing deep knee bends. He's got a bad left back. It's muscular, as we say. It's a silent C. He tweaked a muscle. Lifting trees over his head over the weekend. That's what he does in his spare time. So 9 o'clock contracts is Vermont. 10 o'clock contracts is Maine. 11 o'clock is live in Portsmouth and on Keller TV. All of them are Keller TV. Vermont, Maine, New Hampshire in a row. 11 a.m. here in Portsmouth with Jason and on KellerTV.com. And sacred space for us, right? Very important that we remember that these are the most important hours in the entirety of our week. We have 168 hours a week. I would argue, based on what licenses you have, and most of our agents, the largest number of our agents have their New Hampshire license, 11 a.m. on Wednesday is sacred space. So we want to make sure we're in the room for that. If you've got your main contracts, 10 o'clock, you're on the clock. And, of course, Vermont at 9 o'clock. Wednesday is always very important. And then we have land sales today at 1 o'clock, also with Jason. So he'll grab lunch, go back into hair and makeup. And then at 2 o'clock, here in Portsmouth, land sales, Land 101, all your questions. He'll also be teaching in the near future a class about new construction as well. So when it comes to land conversations, it's a great class to attend with the Jason Westcott. And then, of course, a new construction class is on the calendar in the coming weeks as well. So lots going on. But Wednesdays, as always, our mornings are action-packed with contracts. And we can fall into the mindset that, I'll jump into contracts. Almost the repetition makes it avoidable, if that makes any sense, right? There's an old adage, absence makes the heart grow fonder, or absence can create obsession. And I think the fact that we do have contracts every week can almost create a false boredom to it. What we need to understand as agents, that we are, entrusted by the governors of the states in which we serve with this paperwork and the conversation around this paperwork to guide our clients who have, even though they'll tell you, right? Everyone has that client. They're like, well, Timmy, but we've bought and sold. This is my sixth house. Yes, and I get in the car and drive it every day. It doesn't mean I know how to fix it. I certainly don't. Hi, Gino. You look great today. I couldn't even explain to you combustion. I just know push button, car starts, God willing, right? So in the grand scheme of things, the fact that we are working with people who may have done this a handful of times, it is really our job to steward them through the conversation, through the journey, and make sure that it is enjoyable and error-free, quite honestly, right? Your insurance that you pay on a regular basis, the errors and omissions, the E&O insurance, that is it's incumbent upon us to make sure that we are constantly learning these contracts. And you'll hear Nathan say it, you'll hear JV say it, you'll hear Westcott say it. All of our brokers will say this. You should be able to read that upside down and backwards with the lights off. And if you don't have it memorized, now here's the thing, right? One of the blessings of when we went through COVID and everybody was on Zoom, you could sort of share the document. And now your clients are at their kitchen table in Durham, and you're sitting at your desk in North Conway or whatever, and you can read the document with them. Are we getting ourselves out of the habit of reading the contract to our clients, or are we explaining it? And there's a difference. Do you hear me, or are you listening, right? If you're a parent, you've asked that question. If you're a spouse, if you're in a relationship with anyone who can rationalize, you've asked that question. I understand you can hear me. Are you listening? So don't read the contract to your consumers and future clients. Explain the contract. And the blessing of contracts class is that the attendees are always going to be different. The room is going to be full of different conversations, experience levels, questions, and answers. And that's why it's so important to attend these on a regular basis on Wednesdays. So again, starting at 9 o'clock, Keller TV. We're going 9 o'clock Vermont, 10 o'clock Maine. And then New Hampshire is Keller TV and in person here in Portsmouth because Jason will be doing land sales at 2 as well. Something to be mindful of. And I've been having this conversation a lot right now because a lot of people are obviously heading into their vacations. It's going to be very quiet next week. And I'll say that again. And I'm not doing this to plant the seed for you to be like, oh, so nobody's going to be around. Everyone's going to be around. No matter where people are, they're available because you can get a hold of them. My point is, there's a blessing in that. You're a business owner, and next week for you, you don't have any plans with your family. You intend to be conducting a typical week outside of, obviously, the 4th of July, which is Thursday. And Friday may be a lot slower because people haven't recovered from the 4th of July, and people might be piecing out at lunchtime on Wednesday, the 3rd. And we have this conversation quite often. And it's important, and I bring it up constantly because my job as your coach is not necessarily to teach you something. It's to remind you always. My job as your coach is to make sure that I'm reading new books, that I'm learning new things so I can bring stuff to you. This is a great book, by the way, that I'm going to be sharing with our staff again in just a few minutes when I go on our staff call at 8:45. The Inner Work, written by Matt and Ash, The Inner Work. Phenomenal book. My point is, if I'm not constantly learning something new, I can't expand our conversations when you're with me. My job is to make sure I'm reminding you on a regular basis. And as we head into next week, which will have a holiday in there, the holiday is one day. Now, if you're on vacation next week, have at it. We'll see you on the other side. And as you should. Yet we handcuff our ability to do great things by inflating these days off. If you truly are working at it, hell yeah, march out of here Wednesday at noon. Go for it. Take Thursday with your family. But if you're like, yeah, Friday, actually, I'm going to get some work done, then come back in here or at your home office or wherever you practice real estate. Let's get some work done. The biggest disservice we do to ourselves is we tell ourselves, well, I've got 52 weeks. Or I've got 40 hours this week, and I'm using the average American corporate clock of 40 hours. I know some of you will work more, some of you will work less, or be present more or present less. What do we know, though? We just talked about it, and we reference this all the time. When we get back on the other side, this is why tomorrow is Business Planning Clinic. Because on Monday, July 1st, we're doing activities that will garner results for October 1st. We're going into the second half of the year with only one quarter in which we can make a difference. And I'm not saying this to diminish your efforts in what you'll do for the next 6 months of the year, but understand the scoreboard for 2024 only really has an opportunity to put points up for 90 more days. So don't rob yourself of the opportunity by saying next week, well, it's the 4th of July, but then behaving as if you're taking the 1st, the 2nd, the 3rd, and the 5th as well. You've probably heard somebody say at some point, yeah, every once in a while, Timmy will say, go into the Shark Tank at 4:55 on a Friday and ask yourself if you would hire yourself to come back to work on Monday. And we're all guilty of it. I walk out of here some days and I'm like, unless I really felt the moment or unless an agent said to me that it happened, I'm not sure I moved the needle. And I'm not looking for something cataclysmic. I know you're not necessarily every day looking for something cataclysmic to happen to feel that you know that you moved the needle. Our success, our significance is going to be built on our consistency. And don't rob yourself of that. It's, I want to say 100 hours. I just heard somebody say the other day, and you hear mastery, and they talk about 10,000 hours in a certain discipline. Over the course of a year, if you spend 100 hours focused on anything, you will far surpass most people. You'll be in the top. You will surpass 95% of the other people in your field. And I did the quick math before we got here. And this is based on 365 days, of course. 100 hours in active focus of a certain discipline over the course of a year is 18 minutes a day. Are you spending your 18 minutes today? And if you want to knock out weekends and just make it weekdays, then refashion the math. What will you do with your 18 minutes today? And tomorrow, and Friday, and next Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday? Take Thursday off. And if Friday, July 5th is a day that you should be focusing on your 18 minutes at some point, then let's do that. I'd rather have you focused 5 days a week for 18 minutes on the one thing that you want to surpass all others in, then just keep telling yourself, well, I've got the rest of the year. Because it will slip away. When we walk in on Monday, we have 6 months left. And we only have 90 days to put points on the board to help the people that we choose to serve. How will we do that? It won't be by thinking about it. It'll be by stacking consistently 18 minutes a day. If I can help you with that, let me know. It is 603-834-2856. You can also book my face at meetwithcoach.com. We'll see you in and around the Market Center. Enjoy the heat and have a wonderful morning and afternoon. Take care.